Sameoldji has posted a video asking for video responses, and he gave it the title, The Dark Side of the Hobby. And I guess from a certain point of view, this channel could be seen as a physical representation or a digital representation of that very question. The gamer in the dark room talking and reading about games. But the main thrust of his question was this.
All right, I want to know, guys, what are the games that you fantasize about that you don't play? I want to know how do you feel about this reality? Do you think it's sad yourself? And why do you keep going? Why do you keep putting energy and love and imagination and time and money in this if you don't actually get to do something about it?
In a different part of his video, he's careful to note that his question is not coming from a negative point of view. He's not accusing people saying, why do you keep doing this if there's no fruit from your labor? No, it's from a point of view of curiosity, I think. What motivates you to maintain your interest? What keeps you going? That's a question that I find interesting and can answer. I certainly have more games than I could ever play at one time. And if my group and I were to fall in love with a game, then it would kind of force out opportunities to play the others that I have. So that's going on with us right now with Star Wars. Any opportunity to come together to play face to face, that's the game that gets played. That's what the group all likes. Some of us are interested in other games, but the group as a whole wants to play Star Wars. That's fine. That's fun. And we saw this decades ago with the influx of the World of Darkness. That swept a lot of games off the table, but it also forced us to open up new game nights where other games could be played. And that's kind of the backbone of my response to Sameoldji. Yeah, I mean, here in Korea, I don't have my complete library of books, but I've got more than 90 some games on the shelves at the back of the room. And that's not even going into what's on my hard drive in PDF. That's a ton of games. Do I like all of them? Well, I'm pretty discriminating, but I bought them all for a reason. I don't buy them to collect them. I had a recent conversation with one of the guys in my game group about whether or not I was a collector. He said, "Well, you're a game collector," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." He said, "Well, what do you call your books?" And I said, "Well, they're my library." He says, "Do you never call them a collection?" Well, yeah, they're a collection. Well, then you're a collector. And went back and forth. But for me, the idea about being a collector is that the purpose is to have them. Whereas for me, the purpose is ultimately to read and play them, or use the reading of them to inform the playing of something else. I don't really think of that as collecting books. And the collecting of books with no intention to ever play, that is what I started to think about when I was watching Sameoldji's video about the loneliness of it. That is, by definition, an intention to go out and never involve other people in your connection to the role-playing game hobby, right? There's no intention to play there, and I find that a little sad. You're not inviting anyone into the imagined space. You're keeping your imagination private and just for you. And role-playing games are pretty much by expression, if not definition, a group activity. So that was the first thing I thought about. I keep getting games, far fewer than before, and very focused into specific types of gaming, because for me there's an exploration into how people write about the mechanics, how people envision mechanics, how people envision the experience, and then use that to inform how they will create mechanics, how settings are transmitted well or badly, this kind of thing. I'm interested on that level, and I find every new game that I read has an impact on the games that I play, because I'm always playing games. And since I started gaming, the only interruption in my gaming was when I first moved to Korea. There's just too much stuff going on, too many martial arts classes, trying to adapt to the culture, the work schedule, not knowing anybody, and the internet wasn't up to the task. But after I got comfortable, I started email games. I never stopped working on what was my current campaign, which was the World of Darkness campaign that combined the 5 primary games from first, second, and partially from revised. So, you know, there was always gaming work going on, always with the intention to play. And then when I realized I was here for the long term, I set about recruiting players, and we started playing. And since that time, again, I haven't stopped. There have been breaks in face-to-face gaming, or there's been breaks in email gaming or whatnot, but there's always been gaming. And all of the books, they inform that play. Is there a new way I can understand this topic? Have I always misunderstood this one rule? Maybe the way this other author writes about setting a scene or running an investigation will open up new doors, because I've had that experience multiple times through the more than 30 years that I've been reading game books. Each new game, maybe not each new game, but many new games introduce a new perspective, or they cause some kind of reaction in me as a reader, which teaches me something about how I run games, how I want games to be run, what I'm comfortable with, not comfortable with, find interesting, don't find interesting now that I didn't find interesting before, and this sort of thing. Are unplayed games sad? It's sad. By definition. If someone wants to do something but feels in some way prevented, then that's sad, regardless of what the hobby is. I want to play role-playing games with people, but there are no people, so I can't play. That kind of thing, that's sad. But while I've said several times on the channel that one of the saddest things for a gamer is an unplayed game, there's a flip side to that. An unplayed game is a game you haven't played yet. There's hope. And the quality of that hope is entirely dependent on you. You want to play? How much? You feel sad? How sad? How motivated will that sadness, that loss, that lack, how motivated will that make you for connecting with other people? It used to be you could go to a game store, stand around holding the game that you like, and someone would talk to you, and you could very easily start up a game or post an ad or talk to people who know people and stuff like that. As we get older, that gets harder. As these stores close, that gets harder. But new windows of opportunity are opening all the time. You're sad about it. You're not playing. You've got this huge stack of games sitting next to you that you're using in no way except to get wistful. What are you going to do about it? So I find that as a gamer, even here in this dark space, I am not lonely because I play. And the intention behind all my gaming activities, or game-related activities, or purchasing activities, is directly tied to play. I'm not someone who finds it easy to seek out friendships. The game is a motivation to do that, to connect with people and find a way to come together and explore something that gives us all enjoyment. Now, why that might not involve us being ourselves very much around the table, because we have that filter of the character, it is still the beginning of what, if the game or campaign lasts, will become friendships, and those friendships last. So again, there is the intention to avoid loneliness. I can't imagine just coming to a point where I buy games just to read them, just for myself, with no intention just to play. And so, despite appearances, I'll say for myself, I am not lonely. But do I find it sad? Do I find that someone would do that sad? Yes, I do. And if it's not intention that prevents someone from playing, if it's a sense that there's no one to play with, that is sad, and that is something that needs to be addressed, especially now that we have the technological means to address it. There has to be some way to interact with people in this day and age, even if it's only by email. That might be slow, it might not be as satisfying as face to face, but it might be what's perfect for you right now. A forum game, a Facebook group game, maybe a Hangouts game, maybe audio only, maybe through Skype. Right? Whatever. There must be a way for someone who loves getting involved with the game books to game. Now, all of that said, I have met quite a few people, some of them who came into the hobby kind of tangentially through their comics interest. So comic stores selling a lot of game materials, at least when I still lived on that side of the world. There was an interest in the art. There was an interest in the crossover or the licensed IPs. Everybody wants to know more about their favorite characters, so they're curious about how these characters are statted in the latest Marvel game or whatever. There are people who are tangentially connected to the hobby who have no intention to play. It's a part of another hobby, another collection, or another interest in something. And while I would hope that would encourage them to become gamers, it doesn't always without the intervention of people who are actively gamers. If you see someone that has a superheroes game on their shelf and they never play and they never talk about play, get involved. Break that cycle of loneliness. All right, that's my response to Sameoldji's question. Now I'm going to go and see what other people are saying. Thanks for watching.